at the height of the Babylonian Empire's power. After King Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar became king. He was the last king of the Babylonian Empire, living in luxury and enjoying the great power he inherited from his ancestors. However, his heart was arrogant, and he did not fear God. One day, King Belshazzar invited 1,000 nobles of Babylon and held a grand feast. The king, the nobles, the queens, and the concubines all gathered together, drinking and reveling. Drunk with wine, King Belshazzar ordered that the gold and silver vessels taken from the temple in Jerusalem be brought out. These were items that had once been consecrated to God. The king had wine poured into those vessels and drank from them with the people, praising gods made of gold, silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone. The very moment God's holy things were treated with contempt, heaven did not remain silent. Suddenly, something like a human finger appeared and began to write letters on the plaster wall of the palace, opposite the lampstand. The feast came to a halt, and the king began to tremble all over with fear. His face lost all color, and his legs shook. King Belshazzar summoned all the wise men and magicians and ordered them to read and interpret the writing. But no one could understand what the writing meant. At that moment, the queen entered and spoke. "Your Majesty, there was once a man named Daniel whom King Nebuchadnezzar trusted greatly. He had the spirit of the gods in him and could clearly explain any interpretation. So the king immediately summoned Daniel and ordered him to interpret the writing. Daniel stood before the king and spoke boldly. 'God has set the days of your reign and brought it to an end. You have been weighed on the scales and found wanting, and your kingdom will be divided and given to the Medes and Persians.' Daniel explained that means God has set the days of your reign and determined its end. Tekel means you have been weighed on the scales and found lacking, and Perez means your kingdom will be divided and given to the Medes and Persians." King Belshazzar was shocked, but he quietly bowed his head before Daniel's words. And immediately, he ordered that Daniel be dressed in purple robes and have a gold chain placed around his neck. That very night, Babylon was attacked by the enemy, and King Belshazzar of Babylon was killed that same night. And Darius the Mede took over the kingdom and became king after Babylon. Even though King Belshazzar died and Darius the Mede took over the kingdom, Daniel's fate did not change. He remained wise and continued to live in reverence of God. The new king, Darius, also recognized him, and Daniel was appointed as one of the governors who ruled over the empire. Because King Darius intended to make Daniel the highest official in charge of the entire nation, Daniel became the target of jealousy and envy from the other administrators, which eventually led to the incident of the lion's den. Today, we learned about Belshazzar, the king of Babylon.